This is Conversations with the Citizen. I'm your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Dr. Angela Swain. Dr. Swain is the author of Kitchen Table Talks with Dad, 5 Simple Tools for Transformative Leadership. She's also a business psychologist and professional certified coach. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, as you said, my name is Dr. Angela Swain, and I'm a business psychologist and professional certified coach. So what does that mean, really, right? And so I help organizations achieve their outcomes.
Okay.
And so I also am very passionate about leadership development. And so that may look like having one-on-one sessions about what are some of the roadblocks to their own success and how do those outcomes fit into the larger organization.
How do you use your experience and knowledge to help people reach their professional goals?
Great question. So I do that on many levels. One, I do one-on-one coaching with individual employees. 2, I talk to business leaders, whether they're entrepreneurs or small business leaders, and really get to the heart of what they want to see and achieve in their organization. Sometimes leaders don't really know. They have a feeling, they have an idea, they have a perspective about what they desire, but sometimes they don't really know what that is. They may know what it feels like, but they don't know what it looks like really. And so I help them navigate these unknown spaces to come up with what their true outcomes really are and how we can collaborate and work with their team to get there.
What is standing in the way of people truly being successful?
You know, in my experience with clients, the primary thing that stands in the way for many people are what I call gremlin messages.
Okay.
Those are those messages that are sort of like chihuahuas that kind of pick at you and say that you're not enough, that you're not educated enough, you're not smart enough, you're not experienced enough, you don't have what it takes, you're an imposter.
Okay.
Those messages. And so for me, the clients that I work with, regardless of their education or their level of experience, they have these moments of uncertainty. And that's the primary thing that gets in the way of their success.
And how do you unblock those to help people thrive?
Yeah, great question. I love this word, thrive. That's a word that I hear a lot. And I think people have to define what success is for them.
Okay.
I think oftentimes people operate within a model of success that's not current to who they truly are. So for example, if I look at my life when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Okay.
Right? Obviously I'm not. I'm a doctor, but I'm a medical doctor. And so first I think it really involves defining success for them, not who they thought they'd be at this age. Right? And the second thing is to really say, what does that look like? Now that we've defined it, let's get a picture of it. What does it look like? What does it feel like? In my book, and I know we'll talk about this in a little bit, but in my book I have a motto, and it's called Images. And Images is really an inward-facing opportunity to look at those things like influence and mindset and awareness and guidance, emotional intelligence, and how we handle stress. To look at ourselves internally to see how we show up in the workplace. And that acronym is called IMPACT. So it's Images to Impact. And then also looking at what I call M3C, which is Momentum, Mirror, Moments for Change. Okay. So a lot of times I work with people who are high impact leaders. And so in looking at those people who are high impact, at certain times of our lives, we feel stuck.
Okay.
And so it's really saying, what are those blocks that are keeping us from moving forward? And that often involves dismantling, if you will, who we thought we'd be now because it doesn't measure up.
Okay. Why did you decide to write the book?
Oh God, I hope I don't cry. So I decided to write this book. Actually, it's in collaboration with my father-in-law.
Okay.
My father-in-law's name is John Wesley Swain Sr.
Okay.
And he came to Chicago from the South with $200 in his pocket. My father-in-law was a small business leader and entrepreneur who owned Kimbark Beverage Shop in Hyde Park. That's our family business. And we lived with them for quite some time, he and my mother-in-law. And one day in the kitchen, my father-in-law and I, as we always did, we would share stories, and he would just tell me all of these wonderful stories and had this insight into business and life and parenthood, all of these things. And so in the kitchen one day, I said, Dad, we should write a book.
Okay.
And he said, what are we going to call it, babe? And I threw out a title. He was like, let's do it. And so unfortunately, he passed October of last year. And I made a promise to him that I would finish the book.
Okay.
And here we are today with Kitchen Table Talks with Dad.
So how long did it take you to write the book? You said you started...
Yeah, so the book has lived in my head for about 3 years.
Okay.
That's a long time. I don't think it takes that long to write a book. That's just my personality, actually. And so I would say it took about 3 years from conception to production, with 1 year really devoted to the writing. And for people who are interested in writing, my encouragement to them is to not get frustrated with the process.
Okay.
So the process is not linear at all. You know, I thought it was chapter 1, chapter 2. No, it's like chapter 1 to 5 to 9, back to 1 to 2, to the intro, to the preface, to the conclusion. I mean, it really is not linear, and to not get frustrated with that process.
What was it about that time with your father-in-law that made such an impact on you?
Yeah. Dad, I used to call Dad my Socrates.
Okay.
Because he would hold space for me to dream, allow me to be myself, whatever that looked like, as a wife, a mother, a grad student, a caregiver for my mother, while challenging my limiting beliefs.
Okay.
And he held that all in one conversation, which to me was masterful. And it was that experience with him that helped me know that what I had to say mattered and that my voice needed to be heard.
How do you hope people will respond to the book?
Great question. Primarily, I want people to know that their voice, not just that it's important to be heard, but that it's necessary. I think oftentimes, particularly people of color, have this view that our voices are secondary, right? We often put our voices in contrast to whatever's the norm, in quotes, whatever the heck that means, right? And so I really want people to never settle for an almost version of themselves. That thing that keeps you up, or that wakes you up in the middle of the night, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, to listen to that. And not that it's worth being heard, but it needs to be voiced, whatever that passion is.
Where can people go to find out more about you?
Couple ways. So my website is Angela L. Swain. Swain is spelled SWAIN.com. My email address is info@angelalswain.com. And they can reach out to me via LinkedIn. So obviously linkedin.com/IN/Angela L. Swain -PhD.
Okay, great. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, so actually for the book, I'm going to have a book signing in August, so I'm super excited about that. So more to come about that. What else do I want people to know? My book contains 5 simple, adaptable tools for transformative leadership. And one of the things that I believe is really important is, you know, I was called to go to grad school. Everybody doesn't have that call. Everybody doesn't need to have that call. What I love doing is making what seems unattainable simple.
Okay.
And those tools, simple tools, are in the book. 2, I'm going to have a workbook too.
Oh,
So while
okay.
you're reading along with the book, you can start implementing these skills into your workplace. And then 3, I'm working on an assessment actually that will help you identify where you are with each of these tools.
Okay.
And that you will have opportunity, obviously, to work with me and work with other leaders to help you achieve your goals.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
it.
I've enjoyed talking to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news can be heard.